it's like Christmas morning, your birthday, the first day of vacation, like all wrapped up into one. It's like just we're on cloud nine. Not only did he save Luna's life, but he gave her life back. There's no reason that Luna can't live a long life now, because the thing that was killing her has been...
After a year of fighting for their daughter, along comes a nurse and a doctor that changes the course of the battle. It's a big deal, and you can feel that in Mom's voice. I'm Seth Carnell, and this is the Go Shout Love podcast. This is the second of 2 episodes with Robyn and Glenn, the parents to Luna, who is our featured kiddo for the month of October. If you haven't listened to the first episode, I would recommend it before jumping into this one. And to provide context, Robyn and Glenn have been fighting and advocating for their daughter since shortly after she was born. There have been many hectic moments and many stressful and frustrating conversations that have left them feeling stranded with very few answers on how to help Luna with her pain, much less her diagnosis and her future. Then, when things couldn't seem any darker, a hospice nurse shed some much-needed and appreciated light. Her approach was different, her language was different, and brought humanity into Luna's medical journey. Leading this conversation is Josh Veach, a co-director of Go Shout Love. Please rate and review our podcast so we can shout love further and reach more people with encouraging moments and important stories like this one. Here is Josh.
How old was she? And because we were talking, not too long ago, because it's in COVID. So, how old was she when she had the surgery?
She was 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. She was almost 16 months.
Okay. So you've had a full year of fighting to try to advocate, help us find some level of treatment that will at least relieve her pain. That's the biggest goal, I'm assuming, is let's help her be comfortable and have as much of a chance at life as possible. And I want to come back to the surgery piece in just a second. But it's interesting what I find interesting is a kind of an unsung hero in your story so far is this hospice nurse that sits down and on her first day talks to you as mom and says, what do you want? What are your goals? And I'm guessing that in a season of constantly fighting and constantly trying to find someone to listen, for someone to sit down and open that door to lead with listening had to bring about some emotion.
Oh, she's amazing. She is family to us. We wouldn't be where we are right now without Anya. That's our hospice nurse's name.
The first day, the way she even spoke to Luna, no one had spoke to Luna up until that point. She came over. She's like, hey, I'm going to touch you with my nurse stuff. This is, just so you know, this is my nurse touch. This is my nice touch, just like communicating to her. And then you're seeing the interaction that Luna's having with Anya. And we're like, the previous hospice nurse we had before that was not even close to the interactions we had. So we literally bawled our eyes out just watching her communicate to our daughter like a normal kid. Yeah. We just hadn't had that. So
Anya's a special soul. She grew up being a sick kid, and she remembers what it's like to be in the hospital. And so she's so good at not just being the nurse doing all the medical things, but being that being that confidant, that support for families and for the children. And
she's a human first.
Oh yeah. She's just amazing. Yeah. She doesn't see the disabilities or the disadvantages that families are going through. She just sees the love and the life that's there. And she is such our earth angel, our first earth angel. And we may not have even found Dr. Mahonen in time if it wasn't for her expediting everything for us and cutting through red tape that only, like a medical person could do for you.
Right.
She's just been instrumental in saving Luna.
Yeah, that's awesome. So going back to the surgery, so you show up for the surgery, and Glenn, you're forced to probably see this as potentially goodbye if things don't go well.
Oh yeah, dude. Just dropped, we got to an Airbnb before we had to get to the hospital. So we unloaded everything. And the entire time I'm unloading everything, I'm just sitting there freaking out because, I don't know what's going to happen. And I'm trying to delay this part just as much as I can so I can hang out with her and talk to her. But yeah, getting to the hospital and just getting the stroller out, Robyn setting her in it. It's just immediate breakdown, and I'm just in there trying to gather myself just to drive down the street to get back to where I'm at. But I have no idea what's about to happen. I'm not there with them. And it's just terrifying. Absolutely terrifying.
Yep. So surgery. So you visit with the neurosurgeon. He communicates that it's worse than what he expected. So he's trying to probably manage expectations with you as well. And then you make it through. She's a rock star, and you're out in 3 days or 3 nights. Mm-hmm. And so what has life been like since then?
It's like Christmas morning, your birthday, the first day of vacation, all wrapped up into one. It's just we're on cloud 9. Not only did he save Luna's life, but he gave her life back. There's no reason that Luna can't live a long life now because the thing that was killing her has been removed. It is no longer a factor. She'll always have to have her shunt, and there could be issues with the shunt that come along in her life. But we have Dr. Mahonen, and so that's not scary to us to think anymore. We know we have somebody who adores our daughter and who will fight endlessly for her. And she she's a whole new kid. Really, she went from not even being able to hold her anymore to her sitting up with little head support now, just blasting through her therapies and it just blowing everybody away. Even just immediately after surgery, the second that I saw her, you could see so many changes. A lot of neurological abilities came back. She had got really lockjaw, her tongue stuck up on the roof of her mouth. She was not engaging with us with her eyes at all anymore and just really was still, except for when she'd have huge bouts of pain. And right after surgery, she was crying, mouth open, tongue down, tracking people. So immediately there were vast improvements, but over the last 4.5 months, it's surreal. To think where we'll be in 4 years from now is just, amazing.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So coming out of that, what sort of prognosis has the medical team and specifically the neurosurgeon said that based on what she went through, the success of the surgery and the growth and return to some of those functions that you've seen since then, what kind of expectations or what kind of chart do they see in front for her in the next
years? An interesting question for us. So we don't care what the doctor's prognoses are of Luna because they've proven to us time and time again that they don't know. It really affects people, when you're told, okay, your kid's not going to do anything, but she's going to be alive now. That could really affect how a family is going to go forward with caring for their kid. And instead, we feel, doctors should just say the facts and then say, do everything you possibly can to give your kid the best life and opportunities. So
I think for us now, it's, we keep doing the best for her every day and she keeps doing the best she can. And then we just keep improving. So we've seen expansion of the tissues that still remained, like after the surgery? So as that swelling goes down, the tissues are like.
So we're knowing now that she had a lot more brain tissue than was originally thought. Her brain tissue was just really compacted into these tight ribbons. So it looked as if she didn't have much brain tissue. I mean, she does have significant brain damage where there is tissue missing, but not as much as was first told to us. So every time we go back in to see the neurosurgeon, he does an ultrasound of her brain, and we get to see these tiny little thin ribbons that used to be there that are now like inches long, that have spread out. We have, dove into neuroregeneration, neuroplasticity, neurorehabilitation, and learning how plastic the brain is and how it can rewire itself and use the brain tissue that it does have to make up for what it doesn't have. So in our eyes, we think that the sky's the limit. As long as Luna is wanting to fight and learn and keep growing, we'll endlessly support her on that journey.
Yeah. So Luna's currently doing a lot of therapies that will help her regain some of that lost, some of those lost functions, and hopefully continue to hit new milestones. What kind of therapies is she doing right now?
So we have speech therapy, occupational therapy, physical therapy, vision therapy, and then I'm doing a neurological rehabilitation program with her where they teach the parents how to be the therapist. And once we go through that, then we're hoping to travel to Pennsylvania to meet them in person and have an extensive plan made just for Luna to help us. And they've got some really amazing results with healing kids' brains. We're really hopeful. Luna's such a fighter, she won't stop. So, we have to find whatever we can to support her brain healing, however we can.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And one of the things that you've mentioned that Luna loves to do is art. Tell us a little bit about that.
Luna and I have a very strong energetic connection. Bless you, Luna. So we communicate with our energy. One way that I found was like a beautiful way for Luna and I to create and have fun like you would with an average child, was to draw and paint with her. When she was at her sickest in bed and I couldn't hold her, I would hold her hand and connect to her energetically, and together we would draw and paint. And her and I together would create really awesome pieces of artwork. And it was just really soothing for both of us to be able to have that little bit of normalcy, of playing with your kid in that way. And also getting to teach people too, that you're able to communicate in other ways besides verbally, and that they're, maybe to give hope to other families that have nonverbal children or even a nonverbal loved one, that there's ways that you can connect with them to feel what they're feeling. And while Luna didn't have the ability to paint herself, I could channel that for her and paint for her. Now she's feeling so much better that she's getting into finger painting herself. And we still do a lot of our intuitive art together, but she loves to get her hands dirty in the paint and finger paint herself. Hi, baby.
That's awesome. The journey that you guys outlined, especially prior to surgery, is one that obviously has taken a toll and has been taking a lot of strength to continue and to push forward. For each of you, I'd love for you to individually answer this. Where have you found the strength necessary to go through and show up and do the day-to-day things that ultimately led to finding the surgeon, having the surgery, and to see these brighter days, these days of improvement on the other side of that?
Yeah. I think for me, Luna, part of her soul mission of being here was to crack Glenn and I wide open and grow us in ways that were unimaginable to us. She has grown me into such a strong woman, a healer. I've become a Reiki master because of our experience of using Reiki with Luna. She's opened up this whole side of me that I didn't really even know was there. She is the pillar of strength in our family. We watched her be so strong. So how could we not be so strong with her? And just day after day, waking up, she's still here. She's fighting. She's been her sassy little self. It gave us that extra boost to keep going. And then this guy is amazing. I really have the best friend and best partner in the world. It really, we never kind of crashed at the same time. One of us would crash and the other one would hold the other up and hold that space for them. And, sit in the dark with each other if we needed to have those moments together. But Glenn has been such a source of strength, and Luna. And then honestly, the following that we have on social media has given us so much strength. There were really strangers who reached out to us and supported us and helped us in ways that we I just will never forget. We'll never be able to thank these people enough for falling in love with Luna and our family and supporting us when, they don't even know us and they haven't met us. And so, sharing Luna's story has brought in so much strength. Just, even sharing it through the hardest times and showing people, this is our normal. This sucks and it's really hard. Our kid is dying, but this is our normal. And letting Luna's light shine so that she could bring in even more people to support our family and support her.
Yeah. Glenn, anything you would add to that as far as the strength to go through the journey that you guys have had so far?
I think we've been together for 12 years, and but with everything that happened with Luna, we consistently had to communicate about, hey, I'm this wave of doom is drowning me right now, and I need to go and do something. It's just, I would dip, she would stay strong, she would dip, and then we would just switch places, and we just stayed on top of it as best as we could. And, reminding to stay in that positive flow as much as we could, because at the end of the day, Luna had more good days than she had bad days. And then we just needed to be the best us because of that. We didn't want her to have a sad dad or a sad mom because, she was going to die. And that was, I think for the first 2 weeks of that initial diagnosis, we had that doom and dread feeling that we were in the dumps for sure. But after that, we shook it off and just continued to be the best us we could be. And I think that's where we just keep going every day. As much as we might want to take a time out and not do anything, it's just one of those things that time is so limited and we want to be the best us we can be.
Right.
Yeah. And we both had to be strong in different ways. I couldn't leave Luna. I mean, you couldn't even get me to go to the store without her. And Glenn had to go to work and be away from us. And there's no way that I could have done that. He had to be strong in that way. And, I was with Luna all the time, 24/7, holding her, nursing her, caring for her, doing all of those things, so that burden, not that she's a burden, but so that wasn't put on Glenn on top of having to work. So we really just hunkered down in those roles to support each other, and where we knew we each had strength, to get through that year.
Yeah. What, one of the things that we like to ask families, and we'll wrap up with this, to someone who is maybe walking in a similar journey. And I would say in this conversation, maybe someone who is specifically still in the weight of the gloom season of we don't know, or we're told there's what's options for others isn't an option for us. What kind of advice would you give a mom and dad walking through a season like that?
Just never stop, never give up. I mean, you'll know it's obvious when it's time to give up, But if your child is still here and still alive with you, just keep pushing. I can't tell you how many times people told me how crazy I was for looking for that one yes in a sea of no's, and that I should be concerned about that person who was saying yes when everybody else was saying no. And that couldn't have been more of the wrong thing to say to parents. I say, you keep fighting until you find that yes. And if it takes you around the world, if it takes you to screaming on the top of the rooftops, just never give up. Yeah. Because had we not kept searching, Luna wouldn't be here today. And so I think that's my biggest thing is just don't give up. Just keep fighting and find support. If you don't have that support from your partner or that your family, like reach out to, a group on social media who has similar diagnoses to you to lean on them and ask them like who are their doctors. And I think at first when I would get offended when people would be like, oh, like look into my neurosurgeon, they saved my kid. And I'd be like, you don't even know, like our situation is so different. And like, I think, taking a breath and realizing that there are so many people around the world who want to help you, who don't even know you. And, maybe swallowing your pride a little bit, especially in the beginning, to just take that help, call those doctors, just see and just never give up.
Yeah.
Especially when, don't just take, the opinions of these doctors. These are people who are just like you, who are trained to know more about a certain topic than you, but they're just people and they make mistakes and they don't know everything. And you have every right as a parent to say, I don't agree with you and I'm going to keep searching until I find somebody who agrees with me, who will try to save my child or help my family. And then really like while you're going through all of it, because it's so heavy. It's so heavy day in and day out to be going on a journey like we went through. And I'd say to really focus on those moments between the moments, those tiny little things that happen in the day that we all take for granted.
Yeah.
Like Luna doing a cute little yawn like she's doing right now, or her silly sneezes, or when she was at her sickest and still nursing and we got like a good day of her latching and she nursed really well, just like soaking up all those little things instead of keeping the focus on the big heavy thing that she's dying or your kid's dying. That focusing on those tiny little moments, those little wins really helps you get through to the next day and then see like the silver lining in it all too.
Mm-hmm.
At Go Shout Love, we do amazing things for amazing families with kids on rare medical journeys. Each month, we shout love for families through the sale of creative apparel inspired by the kiddos. This month's Live in the Light design is inspired by Luna, a sassy and determined 1-year-old from Las Vegas, Nevada, and includes finger paint art contributed by Luna herself. Every item sold in October will help cover travel expenses for ongoing care appointments and new therapies for Luna. Visit our website, goshout.love, to support Luna through the purchase of a t-shirt, a sweater, hoodie, tumbler, or other items. We are in the middle of putting together another great month following October, and I encourage you to stay engaged and keep joining us in shouting love for these families. This is an important community, and I couldn't be more proud of all of you who shout love with us. We all feel very blessed to share these journeys with these families when we feature them and after. These medical journeys don't stop after we shout love, so let's not stop what we do best, which is to go shout love.